Ohio State fans are looking for nicks and gaps and just minor little weaknesses on this team somewhere. An NBA fan believes he's found one that a quick twitch guy is needed to replace Chase Young, I'm thinking. And Landon Jackson's a prospect out of Texas himself, Texarkana. So since the Buckeyes, I believe, have the number 1 rated and the 4th rated, I think, weak side defensive ends, I guess they need the number 3 guy, Landon Jackson.
Well, I mean, the whole weak side, strong side, I wouldn't get too hung up on that. I see Landon Jackson listed at 6'6", 240. He's a lanky guy. Ohio State has guys like that already, like Javonte Jean-Baptiste is, 6'4", 6'5", 250. And they'll build them up even more. But then they also, you're looking at Baron Browning dropping down a little bit and rushing the passer. I don't know that Ohio State really gets too hung up on the strong side, weak side stuff anymore, because they just rotate guys. They put a bunch of guys in there, and Jonathan Cooper, I think, is a quick twitch guy who hasn't really produced in terms of sacks. But there's other guys out there, Jazion Harris out of Erasmus Hall in Brooklyn, where Ohio State has had some success with Curtis Samuel and Matthew Jones. He's another, I guess, skinny defensive end, if that's what we're looking at. But I don't know that they're – I don't know what the chances are with Landon Jackson. He's another guy that everybody's after.
The Clemson and Ohio State positions in each conference can be likened, and there's a correlation there, but certainly the Big Ten much stronger behind Ohio State than Clemson. I don't think there's a debate about that. The Florida schools need to step up in the ACC, but other than that, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, much stronger than anything that they've got currently going in the ACC.
I thought the Big Ten, what they needed to do back when Urban Meyer came on, and or even before, is they need to get better coaches. I think they've done that, and they've continued to do that. I think the ACC now needs to do the same thing. When Mac Brown comes in, and he's already making waves and doing well in recruiting, and your conference loses a guy like Jimbo Fisher, that hurts as well. So I think what the Big Ten did is Urban Meyer forced everybody to get better, and teams did, programs did. And Dabo is going to do the same thing to the ACC, either get better or get way, way left behind. And then it's up to them. Are they happy just breaking in the money and losing, or are they going to put money forth and try to be something with it? Like Purdue could have just cashed checks and been happy, but they've spent for their coach, rightly or wrongly. But they are trying to keep up, and I think that's what the ACC needs to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look at the money that's being tossed around for assistant coaches, for facilities, for head coaches, for recruiting budgets and everything else, it is crazy the amount of money that is spent to put these teams on the field. And so there are some schools that make the commitment to compete for a national championship, and other schools that simply don't. And what we're seeing is truly a haves and have-nots, unlike anything we've ever seen. I mean, when Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, have pretty much dominated the landscape here over the last 6 or 7 years in terms of championship games and playoffs and however, national championships and however you want to put it. So, LSU had a guy fall in their lap, and really it was a great team. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they've got more guys probably going to be drafted in this draft than anybody. They have more guys, I think, than anybody at the combine. I know that. So, I think, there'll be some one-offs now and then, but Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State are consistently at the top, and Oklahoma is consistently the best in their conference, the Big 12, to fill another spot. So, yeah, it is interesting to say the least.
And this is an analogy I use all the time in various things I'm writing, is like Steve's talking about Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson. If you look at it in Wheel of Fortune terms, that's, those schools are the R, S, T, L, and E. And then And then LSU would be like, okay, now you give us 3 other letters you want in there, and LSU would be what. But it's like Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson those are the givens, and now give us a couple others that might get in there. And until there's more of those givens, right now, who contends, who will push Clemson, and the people pushing Clemson right now is Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, basically. And that was when Urban Meyer came to Ohio State, he looked at Alabama. That was the target. Then eventually, it's just once you've got the culture, you push yourself.
Yeah, and that's what it's been. Certainly, Georgia, from a talent standpoint, is right there. They have yet to break through, except for the 1 year in the SEC, and came within a play seconds of winning a national championship. But the elite is the 3 or 4 or 5, and we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if LSU is a 1 year wonder. We know from a talent perspective they're not. They litter the NFL with as many players as just about anyone, but they needed that one guy at quarterback. Now we'll see if they can replace Joe Burrow with a guy that, man, if the next kid throws 40 touchdowns, which would be 2/3 of what Burrow threw, hey, 40 touchdown passes in a season, 60 touchdown passes in a season. That's still, I shake my head over that number.